everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
This is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
Celebrate good times. Brian's not here.
Oh, we finally get to have a podcast where we just talk nothing but shit about Brian.
Yes.
It's going to be, as they might say, the time of my life.
I thought about singing that
Nailed
one too.
Speaking of having the time of my life today, okay, so I'm not going to get into the whole story of all of this stuff because there's a bunch of different stuff that's popped up over the time frame, and I don't even want to get into all of it. There's just certain elements here lately that kind of just made me giggle. So today, I'm at work, and part of my work is when I'm in office, I have a laptop. It is not a good laptop. It is a quite substantially bad laptop. But the thing is, like, I'm not like it can't play YouTube videos. Everything stutters when you're trying to play a YouTube video on 240p. Wow. It's just like, that's how bad it is. It can run Excel and Word, which is all I really needed to do while I'm there. Because other than that, I actually remote back into my desktop here back at home. And that way I get to take full advantage of all of the resources my desktop at home can provide, as well as still be at work and not have to pay a ridiculous amount of money for it. I just go
Makes
through,
sense.
remote in, do my stuff that way. So today I'm sitting there going, and there's a project file that the people sent out to our company saying, hey, can you take a look at this file and tell us what you think? And so my boss sends it to me and goes, I have no idea how to work with a CAD file. Can you do something with this? I've never done anything with CAD files before. I don't know if I can. Mm-hmm. And so I look up to see if there's like a quick and easy way to do any form of conversion from like just a CAD file to a PDF so I can just send it to them that way. So it's just a flat image. And I go through and I find that with Adobe Acrobat, which I use for work, I just right click at the context menu, able to click convert to PDF. Like, oh, that was pretty easy. I double click the file and it just looks all forms of jacked up. Like, I'm like, okay, well, that clearly didn't work. This is stupid. So I go through and I download the free CAD viewer that I found online that a lot of people recommended. They said it was a really good whatever, blah. And they're like, yeah, you can output to PDF on this. You can just take a flat image of whatever this is. You can output it to PDF with high quality. That way it's good to go. So I go through and I start doing that. And it's like, oh, well, you have to install this. Oh, you have an update waiting on Windows. We won't let you install this until you update your Windows. And this is all, I'm updating all this stuff on my desktop. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not fun, but I'm going to go through and do this. I'm going to restart the computer, let the update go through, and then come back in later. So I go through and do that. And of course, it kicks me out of the remote session because my computer's not online. It's updating itself. So about a half hour later, I'm like, okay, it should be done by now. I try and click back in. It still tells me it's offline. I'm like, okay, God. I don't think it's offline, but well, whatever. Maybe it just took a long time. No big deal. It goes about an hour after initial restart. I try and get back in. Nothing. I'm like, oh my gosh. And this is when a lot of other things are starting to pile on because now I've gone an hour without doing like a simple request. I'm like, I have to get this done. So I first call and I'm 20 minutes away from my house. I call my mom because she might be out and about, just who knows, doing whatever. She might be able to stop by. She has a key to my house. So I try and call her to get her like, hey, can you go over my house? Literally, can you just go sit at my computer so I can tell you what to do? See what's going on. She doesn't answer. Dad's not in the state. I call my sister. Usually she's around town, like running errands and whatnot. She's in Kentucky for some reason. I don't even know why she's in Kentucky. It's a Wednesday. I don't know why she's in Kentucky. Like, what in the blue hell's happening? And so I called my last resort, which is my wife. Oddly enough, she's the closest one. She works 5 minutes away, but she's got a crazy ton of stuff going on at work. And I know the response that I'm going to get. And I got the response. She goes, are you fucking serious? Do you think I have time to go turn your computer on? I'm like, well, damn it. Go out to my car and I turn on the engine and I go drive 20 minutes to come back home, only to find out my computer restarted. It just didn't load up anything else that allows me to remote into my computer. So I literally come over and type my password in, hit enter. Oh, there it is. We're in. I look and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Wow.
The remote's able to run now. I can see it kind of like flashing up. Usually it's up whenever I restart my computer. It runs automatically beforehand. Always does that beforehand. So I can, even if I restart, I can log in from that screen still from anywhere. For some reason on this update, it didn't start up any of the other like auxiliary stuff and just went, nope, you have to sign in first. So I was like, I just drove 20 to 25 minutes home to type roughly 10 characters and then hit enter, and now I'm driving right back to work. So I drive away. I go back to work. At work, I've got 3 monitors set up, one of which is the actual laptop, like, built-in screen, and then I have 2 monitors on the side to give me 3 overall. And I only have one that really is of any big use because it's the only 1080p or 1920 by 1080 screen that I've got. And that's where I do pretty much all of my work because I can actually see a bunch of stuff and get it all done at the same time. And I use the other ones as auxiliary, just like where I need to look up information or do something quick.
Roger
I
that.
get back and I go, oh, this is fun. The outlet that my monitor and a couple other things are running on, one of them is my fan because the office is hot as hell. The outlet shorted out.
Oh no.
And
This was all today.
This is all today. And I go over and I look somewhere else. I'm like, okay, let's see. I look at the normal outlet where I have all of my, I've got one power strip just to plug in my monitors, charge my phone, and charge the laptop, right? So there's only, there's 4 different things plugged in there. 3 things plugged in there. I look over at that. It has no power either. I'm like, great. So I call up my boss. I'm like, hey, where do you guys have the switches? Because I think the breaker tripped in my room somehow. I go over there. Nope. Breakers are fine. Everything's going. But just for some reason, I found one outlet in that room that I use that actually works. I was like,
oh my God.
Fucking serious. I was like, I want to get something done. And I literally can't get anything done. So at that point, I realized there's no extension cables in the office. I'm the only one in there today. So I'm like, well, I got to go out to Home Depot to buy an extension cable, literally to plug all my shit back in so I can work. I drive off to go get the extension cable. And on my way back, this is like at hour 3 or 4 now that I've been at work trying to get stuff done and really nothing's working for me. I am driving back and I get a call from my boss. He goes, hey, yeah, I'm not going to make it in today, so you might as well just go home.
Oh my God.
I could have been home just working my normal stuff the entire day. And then I got a message that long afterwards, like, hey, not going to end up making it. So the whole point you were in there today, there really wasn't one. So you just wasted a lot of time. So I came back home. I was fucking done at that point. I was like, I don't care. I want to play Shadow of War. And then you guys know how all that went. So today,
spoiler alert, not well.
That didn't work well. I couldn't get it to stream. I couldn't get it to load. And then I was like, fuck this. Let's go to Rocket League. Me and Burke and our buddy Mike went to go play Rocket League. We got one match in before it kicked us out because the servers were being up, or because there was an update to Rocket League. So I had to download Rocket League. The whole day just has been like a, hey, guess what? Are you going to do this? Nope. No. And nothing was like horribly serious or anything. And it was just a whole bunch of just small little shit things where I'm going, you fucking serious? Constantly.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've definitely had days like that. I can't think of like specifics examples right now, but I've definitely had days like that where, and I'm sure we all have, where, it's just one thing after another and it just never stops.
Burke, you've never had that in the computer world, have you?
Oh, never. Was there one recently? I know. Was it when I was updating my computer and like everything kept failing?
I remember when you were going through and updating your PC. It was unplugged for like 2 weeks because you're trying to fix something.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's when I was installing the water cooling, and then it was all working. I tried to slide it back, and it just went. One of the connections got loose, and just sprayed water everywhere. On a $800 graphics card, and on the motherboard, and the new CPU. And I'm like, yanked the plug, and I was like, oh fuck. And then tried a bunch of stuff and get it back up and running. Luckily, no damaged parts except for a cheap ass cable. But no, I've never had any other computer issues outside of that ever. Never. Yeah.
Well, that kind of goes right into our topic this week, which is kind of our first experiences and latter experiences in the computer world. Anybody have like a fun first introduction into computers or what they did with it?
So I don't really remember, like my first experience, but like I do have like a couple that like I guess stick out. And one of them was like I actually have one of the original computers that I actually played games on and or did work on back behind me, and it's an Compaq Portable. I don't know if y'all know what those are, but they are like 35-40 pound computers that had two 3.5-inch floppy drives, or no, not the 3.5, the 5-inch floppies. One was for the OS and one was for the program that you wanted to run. And and of course that was my mom's personal computer for work, and she would take that back and forth on the bus to downtown Houston and back and forth to our house, carrying 30-pound suitcase looking thing. Yes.
How?
Yes. I
get mad when my bag gets like 10 pounds. I'm like, this is stupid. Yes. I'm throwing this all away.
Yeah. But so anyways, like I moved with that thing because I was like, I love this thing. It still turns on. I don't have any discs for an OS on it, but it still works. And I'm like, yes. So I love that thing. But so I guess that's probably my first actually using a computer. But what I remember the most is in, I guess, the house that I grew up in was in my sister's closet, was basically the computer room, because this house, obviously, it was a smaller house. We didn't have any room. Later, we built an actual room, like a family room that is where the computer went. But I was in the closet, and I would just go in that closet and play computer games. I think it was Joe Montana Football is what I played a lot. Before
with like the red and yellow pixels.
Oh yeah, this is before Madden. This is Joe Montana Football, and it was I loved that game. I played it so much, and that was one of my favorite games. And then the other thing I remember about was being at my grandparents' house, who basically my parents would drop me off at my grandparents' house, and my grandparents would wake me up, or put me on the bus to school, and I would come back home while I was waiting for my parents to come home from work. And so I had two sets of friends at my house, and then my grandparents' house. And then at my grandparents' house, I remember, obviously this is like a little bit later on in the I guess computer gaming world, but it was playing Doom, like the original Doom and Crysis and all that stuff. But we played it co-op. So, like obviously Doom is a single player game, but one of us would control the person and the other person would shoot. And that's how we played Doom, and we beat the games like that. So that's some of my first experiences playing computers, or with computers and playing games with them.
So mine's a little less exciting, I guess. My first experiences were at school, actually, like 3rd and 4th grade, when we had the computers in classrooms, and we would play like Word Munchers and Oregon Trail and like all those classic games that we remember. And I was 9 when we got our first computer at home, because my mom was going to college at the time, I think it was. And so my stepdad wanted to upgrade her from a typewriter to a computer. So we got a computer when I was 9 years old. And the first thing I did on it was play solitaire, because I was taught how to play solitaire as a kid, but playing with an actual deck of cards, like the game frustrated me so much that I would just constantly cheat. So when I got a computer, I was like, I'm going to learn how to play solitaire where I can't cheat. So that was like the first thing I did with the home computer.
That's awesome.
I'm in the same boat where my first interactions of any note were at school, and I went to this is going to sound like an oxymoron, but I went to a poor private school. Like they were.
No, I get it.
It was ended up being pretty bad there, but so we had these old, like the old Macs and stuff like that, and I remember I didn't understand. I was in 2nd grade, so how old were we roughly around 2nd grade? What's the normal age? 7-ish.
You probably would have turned 8.
Yeah. So
yeah.
During that time, they had the Macs with the massive floppies, and I remember they had like a maybe like a not Olympics, but like a athletics game, you know, where you're like doing sprints or something like that, and you had to like hit the buttons back and forth, or there's a couple different things like that. Never did the Oregon Trail. We didn't have that, but we did end up in third grade. We had Number Munchers and all these other ones to play on that, and that was cool. And then my first real interaction with it coming home was Christmas. I don't remember what year. And I just remember waking up. I had no interest in a computer. I couldn't have told you the name of what that device was going into school. I'm like, oh, that's where you play Number Munchers, right? That thing? That's the Number Muncher machine, right? That's what it is. My dad goes through and builds, found out later in life, my dad used to build PCs and sell them to people. I was like, I'm sorry, what? You don't even know how to like click things now. What happened?
Wait, what? No. You're going into this. What the
That's
fuck?
as much as I know. That was a business he had it was a side business to make a little extra cash, as he used to build PCs and then sell them to people. Yeah.
Like, he would put them together?
I mean, I guess you can understand how to put the parts together without knowing how to actually use any of them.
Very true.
But your dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming what it was they didn't have anybody else to build. So he was the one that built, and he was the sales guy at the same time. Like, he was the one that sold it to people. I know he's good at sales. He's obviously done very well for himself in sales. So that must have just been out of necessity. He learned how to do that. Because I remember him telling me that, and I go, what? Well, you're in the car, and I turned to him, and I go, how did I not know
I'm sure
this?
that's how my face is.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I used to do that. And I mean, I think it stopped when I got, maybe like somewhere between 5 and 10 or whatever. Yeah. He didn't really do it, but he ended up building the PC. It wasn't like some big custom build. He just built the PC that he ended up buying for us. The first computer we had. And I remember going through and using that, and I don't remember using it for much. I remember being jealous of everybody that had the, like, what was it, Encarta CD with the
oh my god, I love Encarta.
I was so jealous of people being able to use that and look things up and do stuff with it, and like I was so mad I couldn't do it. And I remember my dad telling me, he was like, yeah, when we first got the computer, we were really worried that we just wasted a lot of money computer at home for you and your sister to ignore it. Sister did. She just ignored it. I sort of wish that I didn't get a computer for you because you did not ignore it. after a little bit, and I started seeing the different things I could do with a computer.
Yeah.
I went right into it. I remember one time, because America Online, we were one of the early adopters of America Online at the time. And I remember going through, and they had a tank game. And I went downstairs and told my mom, I was like, Mom, I am downloading a tank game. It's free, but it's going to take like 3.5 hours to download. So do not try and call anybody, because that would interrupt it.
Because you didn't have a separate phone line for it.
We didn't have a separate phone line or anything. So I was like, don't call anybody. Mom's like, okay. And I remember that was the first time she wasn't mad at me for like saying I was going to tie up the phone line for like 9 hours. And we went around, we went about things that way for a long time.
Oh yeah.
From there, just learned more and more little things here and there, and started getting into like chat rooms on the old AOL and learning to run scripts and bots to run like trivia games on it that would actually, calculate who said things first and all this other shit. I had a lot of fun back in the day on those things.
Like I'm with you. That's how it was for me. Like I didn't get into much of the programming like you did until basically the calculators, like TI-80s and all that stuff. Because for me, it was all about gaming and playing with friends, like I was mentioning earlier. Like, yeah, I did some schoolwork and all that, and looked up like with Encarta and all that stuff. But for me, it was all about gaming, and of course, I was always blamed when the computers.
Yes,
every
fucking time, dude. Every fucking time something went wrong. What'd you do?
And I'm like, I wasn't touching it. Of course, who do they call? They come back down and you fix it, right? You're like, oh yeah, here, I fixed it.
Yeah, I never got blamed, but I was hey, you need to figure this out.
I was blamed every fucking time. every single time. And it was so funny when I finally got my own computer that nobody else was allowed to use, how my computer never had a problem, but they kept going, what's going on with this? I was like, I haven't touched it. They're like, it just keeps coming up with the same errors. I'm like, I wonder what's going on then. Let's jump, just saying. Now let's try and find this out. You're the common problem here.
Yeah, I know.
Good Lord.
Yeah, we always knew it was my stepdad's fault from the beginning. Always still is, even present day. I remember one time, so we got AOL in like 2001, I think, because my stepdad got it for like, I don't know, like $250 a month for work or something. Like, it was stupid cheap, so that's why he finally decided to get it
for really cheap at one point.
Yeah.
And so we got that in 2001, and probably a couple months after we got it, I come home from school and he's home from work early, and he has the computer in pieces on the floor. I mean, he's got the tower set aside, he's got the monitor unhooked, he's got the keyboard unhooked to the mouse, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I have to take it to the store, it's broken. And I was like, okay, calm down. I was like, how is it broken? And he's like, when I'm trying to sign on AOL, he's like, it keeps canceling and then signing on and canceling, signing on. And I was like, okay. And I said, what else? And he goes, and there's no sound. Turns out that the speakers were off. So that was the sound problem.
Oh my
and the
God.
enter key was stuck, and you could see it was stuck. And that's obviously why like the back and forth was happening. So like I turned the speakers on, I unstuck the enter key, and I was like, all right, I just saved you $300. You're welcome. So we always knew it was like we always knew it was his fault.
It's just bad.
There was a time that I was luckily this is so early, probably on in the quote internet days and whatnot, and I was young enough that it wasn't going to really mess me up. Like, and nowadays you could say it and it wouldn't matter because you could find everybody's name and information with one swift click anyway. But I remember my dad getting so pissed that I was online and I was talking with this. Okay, I'll go with what I was told. I don't know if this is true, but I was talking with this girl that was like 14, she said at the time. And I think I was like 12. So I was like, I acted like I was 15 to talk to this girl on America Online.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just like going back and forth. And so the topic of names came up like, what's your name? And I was like, Craig, and then I spelled my name, but I changed one letter on my last name, and my dad just happened to walk in right after I hit enter, and it's right there in the through the chat, and he looked, he goes, did you just give someone your full name? I was like, no, I gave it a fake name. And I honestly was like, I don't see the problem here. But I changed one letter in my name, and that was it.
Oh my God.
Great
I remember getting grounded for so long on that one.
Yeah.
This like freaked me out. This is still it wasn't AOL days, I don't think. It may have been very early AOL days, not early, may have been the late AOL days, like 7th or 8th grade for me, right around in there. I was sitting there talking. I was in a wrestling chat room, like a WWE or WWF at the time chat room, talking to people. And I ended up getting into the side conversation with this one guy, and we got into like a little argument over something because I was stupid. And looking at it now, I'm like, wow, I was stupid. He was right. And he ends up going, he's like, hey, I really don't like the way you're treating me. You're wrong. You know that, right? And I'm like, hi, you're an idiot. No one loves you, blah. And he goes, okay, well, I'm just going to shut down your computer so you can't say this stuff anymore. I was like, okay, whatever. You can't do that. That's so stupid. He goes 3, sends the next message 2, sends the next message 1. My computer turned off. I don't know if he actually had control or if it just was really good timing on my computer to fail his part, or if maybe there was a message you could send over AOL. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the iPhone, the iMessage problem, where if you sent certain characters in a certain way, it would overflow into the power section, and it would.
Yeah, the only thing I remember on AOL was people tricking people into hitting Alt F4 or whatever it is.
I saw someone doing that the other day in the Battlefront 2 beta. I was dying laughing at us all that.
I don't know if he actually did anything or if it was something like that happened or if it just happened to be really good timing. But I stood up and I was like, I'm going to go away for a while. And I just walked away.
Awesome.
Yeah, I remember one time I was hanging out in a Nintendo chat room, and there was this girl that would hang out in it that was a total bitch. And so I called her a bitch, and she reported me. And my stepdad had the parental control set up, so like when I got reported, like he would get notified. and he got notified, but like my sister had called somebody, I don't know what she might have called them like a faggot or something, and when she got reported it sent a screenshot, but when this girl reported me it didn't send a screenshot, so my stepdad was like, oh, this is fake. So I was like, whew, I got away with murder there. But then I was like, from then on I was like really careful about what I said on AOL.
I got lucky. My parents didn't know how to work AOL, and so whenever they needed to do something online, I had to be there. And I was like, okay, well, you have to do this, this, and this. They're like, okay, I don't understand how to do this. I'm like, well, just give me whatever. Give me control. They ended up going, okay, you take the main. You're the primary account on this. We'll all be sub accounts from you. So anything that would have happened, if there's any reports,
yeah.
I didn't get any reports on me that I know of, at least.
So
Right.
I remember one time there was a guy who was date my sister, something like that, and I knew him, like we knew him in person, but like the guy was being a dick, and I went off on the guy on AOL. Obviously, there is chat history in AOL. Needless to say, I threatened the guy within an inch of his life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that came back to bite me really, really good. Yeah. He didn't mess with my sister anymore. I got my ass chewed out and grounded for a couple of months though. I learned my lesson. Never threaten people where there's a there's a record of it. Of course, now we're in 2017, and everything has a record, so
Right.
don't threaten people.
Yeah, well, there's no repercussions for threatening people online anymore.
Yeah.
I had a thing where my buddy Matt, he used to, their computer used to be like in their, like it used to be like on a kitchen. It was in their kitchen, but there was a desk like in the kitchen, like a little nook where you could put a computer right in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it was, and so it was very much in view of everybody, right?
Yeah, mine was in the dining room, so I totally get that.
And so I was lucky enough to where ours at the time during this happening, it was in the basement. And really nobody, and this is at the house that you guys have both been to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in the basement. If nobody was coming down, it was right. Actually, if you went straight down the stairs, you guys remember there used to be like a table there right when you came down the stairs, just on the wall to the right, but still in that little cutout alcove area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much you come down the stairs, and as soon as you look to the right a little bit, you'd be able to see. Once you got far enough down the stairs, you'd be able to see the screen, but I still was kind of alone. And so I'm sitting there typing to my buddies, and we're all, we're having conversations, and I did something. And growing up in a very conservative household, I went through and my buddy was getting off, and I was mad he was getting off because him and I were having fun. We were talking back and forth, and I'm being serious. This is a quote. This isn't me censoring anything. I sent the letters F and then the letter U. Hit enter on it. And he goes, what'd you say? And I don't know if I laughed or said something, but I was like, ha ha ha, F space U. Literally the very next day, his parents came over with him to my house, and they explained the whole thing, and they gave me a chance to they're like, hey, what did you mean by this? And I was like, I said the words that you think they probably are. I was trying to be funny with Matt. Got grounded for just gone, couldn't do anything with it. Was just grounded for 3 months.
Yeah. There's been a couple times, Craig, where we used to use Google Talk a lot, right? Yeah, and I used it with my wife. A lot of my family used it as well. And there was one time I was talking to you and I accidentally messaged my sister-in-law, who is a youth minister's wife, and I said, fuck you. Just straight up.
Nice.
And needless to say, I blamed it on you because I said, oh, Craig had my password. He's probably just fucking around. I was like, shit.
Oh, man. Yeah. This is probably why a lot of families hate me. I guarantee you I actually got blamed for a lot of things when it came to computers, because I remember one of my buddies, his now wife, for a while there, she did not like me. And I found out later there was something where it was like I was a super bad influence on him and all this other stuff. And I was like, what did I do? And these were this was,
I always thought it was the other way around, but
that
okay.
was my understanding as well. I was like, if anything, I think, and then like later on, I don't know if maybe there was truth told that she ended up telling me, she was like, oh no, you're a really good guiding light for him, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But there was a while there where she did not like me at all because she thought I was a really bad influence on him. I was like, the fuck am I doing? I don't understand.
I'm assuming he would do bad stuff or something and be like, oh, it was Craig's fault. That's the only thing I can think of. That's what I'm thinking,
or there may have been other computer crap that may have popped up. I have no idea. I literally don't know what was going on. I have one thing, but I'm not going to go into it now because it's more of a personal story. I've got one thing, and that's the only thing I've got, but I have absolutely no idea. So I'm going with the Burke theory, where I was getting blamed for stuff that wasn't actually my fault. And I had to live with it for a while there.
So after the kind of AOL days, I was super excited when I moved away to university because, hey, my parents at the time were still on AOL, and pretty much everybody at that point had upgraded to at least DSL, if not cable for the wealthier families. And my parents were still on the AOL dial-up because my stepdad's like, it's $3 a month, like we're not, so I went away to university and I was like, oh, thank God I can, not have to take 75 years to download 3 minutes of material. So the laptop my parents got me for graduation like crapped out pretty quickly. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a custom built laptop. My mom's like, you need that for school? And I was like, yeah. No, I didn't. It was a gaming laptop.
Of course.
I mean, it obviously did everything I also needed for school, but it was definitely a gaming laptop. But I paid for it, so I mean, what was she really going to say? Like, she couldn't object that much. But that's when I started getting into computer games, and that's when my friends started to too. Because prior to that, like, nobody was really PC gaming much at all. I mean, you were saying like your experience was playing like Doom and stuff, but I didn't know anybody growing up who was playing any game on their computer other than things like Oregon Trail and Solitaire. Like, I didn't know anybody playing PC games.
I didn't know a single person until my senior year of high school when I found out people. I remember one of my there was a kid in the grade underneath us, Michelle. I don't remember Andrew, and his name was Andrew. And I found out that
was that my doppelganger?
That was your doppelganger. Yeah, you both know him.
I loved it.
Oh my God, I never even realized that. That's so true.
We got them in the same room at one time too. It was like the universe almost exploded because we almost got the positive and negative energy almost canceled out perfectly. But I remember him sitting there. I went over to his house one day because he was building a PC, and I was literally building a custom PC senior year so I could video edit at my house, like video games. We were doing like Halo montages and stuff like that. And he goes, yeah. So do you ever play I remember he brought up Counter-Strike at the time. And he goes, yeah, and Half-Life 2. I was like, no, never heard. At the time, I'd never heard of this. I've never heard of Half-Life or anything. And I remember he freaked out. He's like, you've never heard of Half-Life? And this was the week before Half-Life 2 came out. And I remember him saying, he's like, dude, I've already got it downloaded. The key unlocks at midnight, so you can actually play it at midnight. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to be able to do that. Like with the new Halo games, like if I could actually play them at midnight, And then they eventually ended up doing that, which with like midnight releases, granted, it still was, you have to go to the store and pick it up. But I remember being like, he's already got it downloaded, man. And he can play as soon as it's available. But I didn't know anybody that played PC games on the regular until like even Burke, you and I during college, we didn't do PC gaming a lot. So it wasn't even then I wouldn't have counted you as a PC gamer at the time.
Yeah, because I mean, like I only had my laptop. That's all I had. I had my laptop. I think towards the end of your stint at Lipscomb is when I built that PC.
It was after.
Or maybe that was after
you didn't have
left.
It when I was
after
there.
you left. Okay. Yeah, because what I that's what I started on, because I didn't have a console. My parents wouldn't buy a console for the longest time. Like the first console I got, I think I said this in an earlier podcast, was I got the NES, the original, the Nintendo Entertainment System, when the 64 was like 2 or 3 years in. Like that's how behind I was on consoles. Like I would go over to friends' houses and play console, and that's what I did. But like I was always playing PC, so I would play I played a lot of airplane simulators and a lot of first person shooters like the old Ghost Recons and whatnot. But like that was me, and then I bought a GameCube, and then I found Halo. And it's just been console ever since. You know, I right now I have, you know, a really powerful PC, and I've obviously been playing Shadow of Mordor on PC just because it's in 4K and looks absolutely beautiful. But like for the most part, I still play console a hell of a lot more than PC, just because that's still where you know the biggest friend base that we have.
That's the only thing that really keeps me PC. If we could get everybody to move over.
Console?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I wish we could get everybody playing PC. Yeah, sorry.
Same
I wish we could get everybody to kind of move over, especially with Xbox and them doing Play Anywhere for all their exclusives. Like, there's no reason. Like, you can just not buy the next Xbox, even though I've already got the Xbox One X pre-ordered because I'm stupid and I'm a shill. But I've got that, and
I've somehow held out and have it.
I think the biggest reason is because I'll be able to play back 4K Blu-rays, and my wife buys Blu-rays and likes watching things off Blu-ray still. And I was like, well, at the end of the day, that will end up just being a good 4K Blu-ray player, like down the line once the system's kind of not obsolete, but like once we've kind of moved on, that will be what it is. And I'll definitely get my use out of it before then. And I'm hoping things aren't as glitchy for Rocket League with the frame rate issues.
Yeah.
But
that's
I'd love.
Like if we could get Mike or someone to play on Steam or whatever,
I think we're gonna get Brian,
totally.
according to what he's saying.
I know. I think we're gonna get Brian, so I'm excited about going back to PC Master Race.
One of the things that I absolutely love about using computers for is automation. I don't know how much anybody else uses different automated systems to try and help them either in daily life or in special event purposes or anything like that.
I am not to the extent you do, but I absolutely love it.
It is now the entire reason I jailbreak my iPhone, because I can set up my phone to basically do so many processes based on my location or based on I know it's still a computer even though it's my phone, but you know, if I go over to my car, which my car has Bluetooth, like phone calls, right? Telephone, Bluetooth. Mm-hmm. If I connect there, it automatically shuts off all the systems that I can't use while I'm driving. So it's shutting off Wi-Fi because I'm not going to use Wi-Fi while I'm driving. It's not going to need it. So that's a little bit of a battery saver there. And it doesn't randomly try and connect to, like, if I stop at a stoplight, it tries to connect to the Xfinity something over from the Starbucks right next to me or anything like that, whatever it is. I have a lot of things where, like, a reminder for Free Code Friday from Major Nelson. I have a text message sent to Burke every single Friday when that thing goes up for us to enter in so that we don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and you know what the funny thing is, like, for iPhones, like, yes, I've jailbroken my phone. I never got into it when my iPhone. But on my Android, when I was like full, that's all I used was Androids. I did that all the time. I would have but then I could do that without rooting it either. Like, and I think that's what I did. Like, I would obviously now with the new Samsungs, they have it pretty locked down and all that stuff. But this was
back in the Wild West,
back in the Wild West of Android. And I would just, I love doing shit like that. Like, I would come home, I would get home and it would send a text message to my wife going, "Hey, I'm home." You know, and it had to meet certain parameters because there's a lot of times I would come home, then go get the mail and then come back. And I knew that, and I set it up to where it would only send it once per day. And like, I absolutely love doing that kind of shit.
Yep, I've got Sarah and I's phone set up to text each other whenever we leave work. And we're for her, it's a lot shorter because she only works 5 minutes away. But it texts each other whenever we leave work, so we kind of know, like, oh, the person's coming home. That means if we're doing something, we can finish it up, or it just kind of lets us know that I don't know, maybe we're gonna go get food, or maybe we're gonna eat dinner once one of us gets home, or whatever the thing is. A lot of stuff like that. I do it a lot for work too. Burke has seen me go through and make stupid like system-wide macros. I went through and I built a macro to go through, and my Adobe Acrobat will fail out sometimes and completely won't let me draw, like measure things anymore. And that's one of the core reasons I use that program. I literally built an entire macro because there's a while where it just kept doing it over and over again until I reformatted, where it would go through and uninstall the program, reinstall the program, and set up my preferences while I walked away. I just double click on the exe I made of it, and I'd walk away and go through and take everything out, bring it all back up, install it, put on my preferences, and be like, okay, you're good to go. I'll be like, well, I got 30 minutes to go do something else while it's going through and doing that.
Yeah.
Or different Excel sheets. I'll go through and automate it to go through and build out Excel sheets for me, so I don't have to physically do it myself.
I think probably the furthest I've taken like computer automation these days is just basically building images for myself, keeping them updated, just so when my computer does crash, because it will happen. We are in Windows and it's a feature. Sorry. There's an IT joke for everybody right there. It is going to crash. Like I don't have to go back and go, oh shit, here's these 50 applications that I need to install. Yes, I'll have to go through and update them again, but I would much rather update the applications than start from scratch and have to download like 50 to 100 apps. That's kind of...
I need to start doing that more. Though when I reformat, it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't have too many of the things that I have to do. I've just got I have to go through and just reinstall my Adobe suite, and then like XSplit and Chrome, and then past that I'm like, okay, well, I'll eventually find everything else whenever I need it.
Yeah, well, because I use mine for work too, so I've got to install a bunch of work stuff and do. It actually does everything because I have to put certificates on there.
I don't have any.
I have it set to where it does all of that stuff, so I don't have to do a damn thing. And I love that.
Once I get Adobe on there, if I get Adobe, XSplit, Game Capture, and Chrome, I can probably ride that for a good week or two, and then I'm like, oh, I need this just for this little thing. Oh, I need this for this little thing, and it's stuff I just go through. I've got all the original EXEs saved on a folder on a different drive that's not active.
Oh yeah.
So I just go back, I go over there and do that, and then I just go down, check for update. Okay, we're good. Nice, move on from there.
All right. So I think we're coming up on quiz time.
Is it
Who did
quiz
the quiz
time
today? It's quiz time.
It's did.
Brian. Oh, wait.
Oh.
No, it's not. He left us.
Brian's score is going to be -16 today.
Wait a second. Let me pull up my spreadsheet.
Oh.
And hey, guess what? Brian got dunked
Official
on.
scorekeeper took it. He did.
Oh, that's fair.
Watch, he doesn't listen to this episode for a year for some reason. Then he's like, "Oh, you guys."
By the way, the moon belongs to Canada.
Yeah.
So we have.
Yeah.
He can't argue. Yay! I'm just saying, once we end up doing this, Michelle, you just got to make sure to tell Brian that he was the second runner-up on this one.
Yes.
I will. Absolutely. I'm gonna tweet him you were the second runner-up today, and you weren't even here.
That's awesome.
All right, so this quiz is, I think, 15 questions with one bonus question, so 16 total. It should be a pretty fun quiz. I went through and found a bunch of computer facts, mostly from the times that we weren't even alive.
Woo! All right.
So I figured that would make it relatively entertaining here. So what order today, Bert?
Craig and I'll just switch back off and make it easy.
All right, so the first question here. The Apple Lisa computer of 1983 cost $10,000 in 1983 money. That's not adjusted for inflation.
Oh, fuck.
What made this model so special?
Am I going to ruin a follow-up question if I look up $1983 to today? Okay.
No, you won't.
I want to know that number.
Burke, you go first while I look this up.
Yeah. So, what was it? You said Lisa?
Yeah, it was called the Apple
Burke's got to type in Lisa real quick. Hold on.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Let me type this in with my virtual keyboard I have in front of my face. Let's go with it was the predecessor to Siri, and it talked to you.
The reason it was so expensive was because you actually had to rent out this facility for 2 years to be able to even use it.
Okay. Neither of you were even close.
Damn.
Big shock. So it's actually the first successful, and by that they mean just commercially successful, computer that had a graphical user interface and mouse.
Paying a lot of money for a GUI back then, because in August of 2007, I don't know why it chose August, because we're not in August, but it chose August, and that's what I went with, and I don't really care. If that was in today's dollars, 10,000 would be $31,557.71.
That's an expensive
A
fucking
very
computer.
expensive
you
computer.
guys.
Dude. Oh, that's like server size computing power. Like, wow. You can buy like a converged infrastructure box. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
All right. Question 2. The first portable Mac, appropriately named Macintosh Portable, in 1989, had what speed of a processor?
What's the
Today is gigahertz, by the
okay,
way.
so, thank you. Hertz is what I was looking for. I didn't know. I don't know exactly.
I'm like, I can't answer that.
I'll give him that much. How about
That
that?
lets you know how well I'm going to guess this anyway. I'm going to go with 1 hertz.
You are asking for hertz, right, Michelle? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with.
Hertz was a good answer.
I'm going to go with 11 hertz.
Okay, so Burke is technically closest. Y'all are underestimating people
It
just
was
a
like
little
100.
bit. It was 16 megahertz.
Oh, 16 megahertz.
Like
Okay.
my 1 hertz.
I don't even know if there's such a thing as like just a
I'll
one
make you,
hertz.
I'll
What
make
did
you
it do?
hurt 1.
I'll make you hurt 1.
The Coleco Atom of 1983 would not run without what accessory attached to it?
A 1983.
Mhm.
A printer, a dot matrix printer attached by a parallel port.
I'm going to go with retinal scan device.
Okay, I'm actually going to give Burke the point. It actually is its printer. For whatever reason, that for this computer, the printer doubled as the power supply. So if the printer was not hooked up and plugged in, the computer would
That
not
wouldn't have
run.
been the reason. I would have guessed that like
That was not the reason I
as
was
soon as
going
you said, as soon as you said that, I go,
I'll
yeah, it
take
probably needed to output and print for you to actually see what you wanted to do next. Like it didn't have an actual.
Nope, it was the power
that's-
supply.
Very interesting.
Okay. Number 4, the Zenith Mini Sport of 1989 was the only computer to ever utilize what piece of hardware?
Horsepower.
I don't care. I'm giving Craig half a point for that one because I was going to
No,
say
I
that
was going to
too.
say that. I love that answer.
That's my real
What
answer.
piece-
That's all I've got.
So what piece of equipment? Let's go with. I can't even think. No, I have no clue.
Okay, so that it used the obviously not well known 2-inch floppy drive.
2-inch. I think I knew they made 2-inch floppy drives. Interesting.
Well, with one model of computer using it, it
Yeah.
doesn't shock me. All right, Charles Babbage of England, although he never actually made a computer, invented all of the parts now used in modern computers. In what year did he accomplish this?
1956.
No, 63, dude.
Okay, so Burke is technically closest. The answer is 1822.
Fucking shit.
So he actually he had the idea. He invented all of the pieces and the idea just didn't get by the government. And so the actual first computer then wasn't made until 1933 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the first one with electricity wasn't made till 1939. But he actually he had the idea and he had all of the hardware ready to go, and the English government was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked. But Burke was technically closest, so I guess he'll get the point.
I'll take it.
All right. In 1980, when the first, what we would now call modern computer era really started, the first 1 gigabyte disk drive was invented. How much did it cost and how much did it weigh?
I'm going to go with it cost $3,000 and it weighed 24 pounds.
I'm gonna go with $5,000 and 150 pounds.
Okay. So again, Burke is technically closest, still way off, but technically closest.
I'm guessing they're the huge disk drives that I. Yeah.
So it was $40,000.
I almost said 30,000 just to be goofy with the last number.
Yeah. $40,000, and it weighed 550
What
pounds.
year was this again?
1980 for 1 gigabyte.
I did not hear the 80. You broke up during that, so I thought it was later on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you said 1990 something.
1980
Okay.
for 1 gigabyte.
I've actually seen some of those old drives. Have you ever seen the like in person, like in how fucking big they are?
No, I haven't seen them in person.
Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like think about a toilet paper roll and just like increase the size like exponentially and put like a case around it, like that doesn't look like a modern
hard drive.
That doesn't look like a modern hard drive. It still has the same components, like the discs that spin, but just like you're talking taking up floor space. They're so fucking huge.
I mean, at 550
well, really,
pounds.
what you would end up doing is you would just make those your walls in your house.
Yeah.
And that way you're like, I'm surrounded by hard drives, bitch.
All right, number 7. What material was the first computer mouse made of?
Fur. No, plastic.
Like a real mouse. They shove electrodes right into its ass. You like move around, you're like squeak, 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 squeak. Right squeaking was really weird.
So I'll just go with plastic.
I'm gonna go with copper.
Okay, so the answer is actually wood. The
Wood.
first computer mouse was made
I
out
thought
of
they were gonna
wood.
make it super conductive.
4 of the biggest names in our tech world, HP, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, all had what humble beginning?
They all started out of a garage.
I agree.
Yep, you will both get the point. That is the truth. They all started out of a garage. All right. Question 9. What is the longest word you can type with one hand if you're following proper typing rules?
Let's go with John. Your right hand.
It is with your left hand,
I say we go with Johnny.
and it's your left hand. In the English language, and it's stewardesses.
Yeah, this is English. Yes, Craig gets the point that
Nice.
it is actually stewardesses.
Nice, Craig.
I don't know why I know that.
So now he probably also knows this one then. What is the longest word you can write with one row of a computer
I
keyboard?
don't know this one. Hold on, let me look real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking at my keyboard.
Go for it.
I'm
Let's
assuming the
go
top. It's
with-
got to be the top row. There's more keys, but they're kind of weird keys too.
Let's go with pottery. Because that's the first word I saw.
Cordialopoliapis.
All right, I'm going to give you both half a point because it is from the top row. So you both got that. It's typewriter.
Oh, I knew that actually.
Oh,
From the top row.
I did know that.
All right. Question 11. What percentage of the world's currency is estimated to exist only on computers?
95.
You say percentage?
Yep.
11%.
Okay, Burke is gonna get it because he was actually close for real this time. It's about 90%. So they estimate that only 10% of money in the world is actual physical currency, and the rest is just on computers.
That's what I meant. I see. I said 11, thinking you meant that way.
Yeah, I'm sure. It is estimated that if a computer was actually as powerful as a human brain, how many operations per second could it achieve, and how much storage space would it have?
Fuck.
The operations per second?
Yep, operations per second, and how much storage space?
Let's go with 10 million. No, let's go with 1 million per second. And storage, let's go with 7 petaflops. Or petabytes, sorry.
Petabytes.
Petaflops.
That's what I was,
yeah. I was going computing power.
I already typed these out beforehand, Burke, so I'm sorry. I'm going to go with 11 billion processes per second and 10 petabytes.
Okay. Craig is closest on both accounts. Not quite. So it would be 38,000 trillion operations per second. And 3,580 terabytes of storage.
3,580
terabytes of storage.
And how much did you say storage?
I said 10 petabytes.
Oh, I said 7.
3,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so you were closest there, and Craig was closest on the processes.
So 1 and 1.
Okay. Number 13. What movie sequence was the first entirely computer-generated one?
What movie?
What movie sequence?
Oh,
Not
sequence.
the entire movie, but like a part of a movie.
Do we have to know? Do you have to know the movie or the actual sequence?
Either. I mean, if you.
I'm just gonna guess The Matrix.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Beauty and the Beast, and it's the dance sequence.
Oh man. Okay. You guys are underestimating people. So it's Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is the movie, and it's the part where they are demonstrating the Genesis device, I guess is what it said.
I know the scene I
don't
said
even
is
know.
something. I just don't know exactly what it is.
Wrath of Khan, you said?
Yeah, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is the movie. And the part is the Genesis device demonstration video. So I guess I haven't seen the movie, but I'm assuming they were just playing a video for the characters in the movie, and that video was the first like entirely computer generated thing for a movie.
So is this like the old? I guess that's really old, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm watching the video now. Holy crap. Yeah, that's old.
So I'm going to give you both a shot at the bonus question since neither of you got it. The team that actually like made that part, their small studio would become what now more famous studio?
I'm going to go with. I'm trying to think of the name. Fuck it. I'm just okay, whatever. I'm going with the easy answer. I'm going to go with the Pixar.
I'm gonna go with what is LucasArts? I'm just kidding. No. Was gonna make a William Shatner joke, but I can't even think of one. So I've got nothing.
Okay, so Craig does get the point. They are part of the people that then turned into Pixar.
Ah, cool.
So they went from that to Pixar, which is amazing.
Awesome.
This next question is actually probably one of my favorites because I didn't even know this was an acronym. Maybe other people did, but I didn't. What does CAPTCHA stand for?
I knew this at one point.
I mean, now it's like obvious to me that it should have been an acronym, but I just never thought about it before.
It's like Certified Automated Process or CAPTCHA Automated Process Computer Homies Asshole. I don't know. It's something along those lines, though, I think.
Homie's asshole is my favorite part of that.
The only thing I know, it's something about a Turing test to make sure you're actually a human.
Yeah.
That's about all I know.
I'll give you each half point because you got part of it. It's completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart.
Huh.
So that's what that stands for. All right. And the last question of today's quiz. Why was the name bug most likely chosen to relate to computer errors?
I want to say that initially it literally was a bug in the actual system.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. You'll both get the point there. So in 1947, in a Harvard Mark II computer, there was a dead moth that got stuck inside.
It's so weird to think about.
It is.
Yeah, I know, because they were so huge.
Like that's a moth getting stuck inside of a fucking house. Like,
yeah, I know, and you had to search through rooms of shit to find the bug in the system.
It's just sitting there flying around like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Everything's so warm.
Yeah, and then it gets fried. So the second runner-up tonight
is Brian.
Is Brian.
Woo! Yay, Brian!
With negative 16.
Second runner-up.
First runner-up is Craig.
Woo!
With 6.5.
Second runner-up.
6.5, and then I came in first with 9.
Nice. I'm tweeting Brian right now to tell him.
So apparently Craig just
Did you already do it?
Someone just followed me on Twitch, and so like, because I've got XSplit still up and it's still in the gaming version.
Oh.
And so whenever someone follows me on Twitch, Bill Nye's head comes up and spins, and it goes, Bill. I'm turning. I was like, what the fuck's happening? I look over and someone just followed me on Twitch. I'm not streaming.
It's like, are you sure?
I just had the Twitch alerts up because I was streaming earlier.
Oh my god!
That scared me.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Did you hear it?
No, I didn't hear
Okay.
it because I think the guy who plays the audio isn't in this channel.
Yeah,
on Mumble.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, that's hilarious though.
Okay, I derailed this. I'm sorry. Where were we?
Where were we?
Where were
Ryan
we?
lost. That's where we were. That's what matters.
And what does that mean, though?
Ryan got dumped on. Ryan got dumped on. In this podcast and on Twitter. Oh yes. Oh, I'm so hot. I'm sweating. Shit.
It's actually like it scared me initially because I wasn't ready for it. And all of a sudden, it was like Bill. In my
I just
ear.
saw it pop up. That was amazing.
Oh.